The combination of Kevin Costner and Taylor Sheridan's talent is a perfection. Sheridan can write fascinating stories.
I just make movies to support my horse habit. That's all I do.
And Costner can effortlessly convey them.
A little early to be flirting now, isn't it?
We saw it in Yellowstone, where they changed the TV show that many people think dead.
Yellowstone. I mean, it's just going on. You got season 5 coming here. It's broke. We all thought TV was done until you showed up.
And now, it's really hard to imagine that since February 2023, Costner and Sheridan are having a real behind-the-scenes cowboy fight. I mean, come on. The drama they are casting right now is much more intense than the plot of Yellowstone itself. But out of all the rumors and news swirling since February till now, how many of them are true? Let me tell you this. Very few. And you will be forever blindfolded about the real drama of Kevin Costner and Taylor Sheridan if you don't watch this video. Here we are going to spill all the truth and only truth exclusive information about the issue. From Costner not being happy with the fate of his character, to Taylor Sheridan being disappointed about Costner choosing the horizon and giving up his character John Dutton. This is the Yellowstone, Kevin Costner and Taylor Sheridan drama explained. First, let's talk about the Yellowstone Lone Cowboy. In the first chapters of Yellowstone's tale, Sheridan paired up with John Linson. He'd sometimes rope in a fellow writer to share the credits, but for the most recent wild rides on the show, he's been the sole cowboy at the writing helm. So how does he spin these tales of the Wild West, you ask? Well, he moves to Wyoming, locks himself up in a little wooden box called his cabinet, and dreams up the next big drama for the Duttons. As The Hollywood Reporter penned it, Taylor Sheridan does whatever he wants. See, the writers often huddle up like cattle for a brainstorm, but Sheridan rides solo. Basically, he's a lone ranger, charting his own path and guarding his stories, making sure every twist, turn, and tumble in his shows matches his grand vision. And you won't believe this because there is a point that Sheridan managed 5 different shows. From Yellowstone to its wild prequels in 1923 and 1883, to roping in big names like Sylvester Stallone for Tulsa King, and then racing to the finish line with Special Ops Lioness. Like any cowboy, he had a plan, such as writing the first tales for Tulsa King and Lioness, then passing the reins to another showrunner and their band of writers. However, just like a wild stallion, he didn't take kindly to others changing his course because few writers and directors were out of the saddle due to creative differences. Taylor Sheridan genius. While some folks tip their hats and say he's hardworking, some whispers in the wind tell that he's a god complex. In fact, Kelly Riley, the fiery Beth Dutton we all love, admitted to clashing spurs with Sheridan during season 5. In a chat with Yahoo, she spilled the beans that, "I'm coming to it almost the same as the audience. I mean, I have my hopes and thoughts for the character. Also, as I've played her for over 5 years now, I feel like I know her so well, but I'm still learning. There are still things that I read and I didn't expect, or sometimes I wish for something else for her, but that's the same as the audience. We're all sort of beholden to the vision of the storyteller, and we serve the story. Who knows what's going to happen?" Also, some consider that Sheridan is a kind man because Julia Schlapfer, our gal from 1923, recalls a moment with the legendary creator. She shared, "Sheridan told me, 'All I want you to do is be you. Drop any notion of the character you ever had because you, to me, are Alex. You have all the qualities of this character, so just be yourself. You could drop the accent if you want. I don't care. I'm just going to read with you." Sheridan has a peculiar way of picking his crew. He laid it out clearly to The Hollywood Reporter, explaining, "I don't really give a shit what a line producer or some physical production person thinks. I care a lot about craft services and set decorators and assistant camera operators and people that are working their asses off for way longer than I work. I work 16 to 18 hours a day. They're doing it for $35 an hour. I really care what they think." Taylor Sheridan losing John Dutton. Back in February, Kevin Costner decided to leave the series. The shockwaves scattered everywhere, and some whispered that Sheridan and Costner were at it head-to-head like two bulls in a field. The debate went so wild that some folks pointed out Costner is the reason Yellowstone wrapped up earlier than expected. On top of that, there's even talk about Costner possibly taking Paramount to court over the bumps he faced while heading out. But amid all this drama, and despite the mountain of differences growing between these two cowboys, Sheridan couldn't help but praise Costner's stellar role, saying, "His creation of John Dutton is symbolic and powerful, and I've never had an issue with Kevin that he and I couldn't work out on the phone. But once lawyers get involved, then people don't get to talk to each other and start saying things that aren't true and attempt to shift blame based on how the press or public seem to be reacting. Sheridan continued, "He took a lot of this on the chin, and I don't know that anyone deserves it. His movie seems to be a great priority to him, and he wants to shift focus. I sure hope the movie is worth it, and that it's a good one." And when Sheridan asked about Costner's exit, he said, "I'm disappointed. It truncates the closure of this character. It doesn't alter it, but it truncates it." Also, Sheridan addressed a rumor swirling around that he had once told Costner to stick to acting when the actor complained about the Yellowstone story during the show's early seasons. Sheridan said, "I never had that conversation with Kevin. There was a time in season 2 when he was very upset and said the character wasn't going in the direction he wanted. I said, Kevin, you do remember that I told you this is essentially The Godfather on the largest ranch in Montana. Are you that surprised that The Godfather is killing people? What he's clung to is Dutton's commitments to his family and way of life. Dutton's big failing is not evolving with the times, not finding different revenue streams for the ranch. Kevin felt season 2 was deviating from that, and I don't know that he was wrong. In season 3, we steered back into it." Sheridan added, "I recall him winning a Golden Globe last year for his performance, so I think it's working." Kevin Costner leaves Yellowstone for his 35 years product. Season 5 was split right down the middle, with Part 1 having 8 episodes aired from November 13th, 2022 to January 1st, 2023. But for Part 2, Yellowstone was looking a tad foggy. These changes made by the Paramount Network affected Costner's shooting in Horizon. And when they are shooting the first part of Season 5, Costner says there's no script for Part 2. You see, in May 2023, Costner's wife, Christine Baumgartner, filed for divorce. And throughout the hearing process, he said that he had tried to balance Yellowstone and Horizon. But the producers, not our pal Sheridan, kept shuffling the schedule cards. And when Yellowstone's 5th season gets split, Costner's craving more time because how is he supposed to saddle up for Yellowstone twice a year and shoot his dream project? And then, when there's money involved, as Costner's waving a price tag of $12 million for the rest of the episodes, the network walked away. Costner tells the judge, "I couldn't help them anymore. We tried to negotiate. They offered me less money than previous seasons. There were issues with the creative." But Costner did mention more about these creative differences. "I know this is so disappointing. Many Yellowstone fans and critics have been raving about how perfect Kevin Costner is for playing John Dutton. However, after a long and tough discussion, Costner, the Paramount Network, and Taylor Sheridan couldn't see eye to eye. And sadly, he's hanging up his cowboy hat and riding off into the sunset." Yellowstone Season 5 Part 2 release. When will it come out? As Yellowstone Part 2 is all set to roll cameras in March, Kevin Costner says he's got just 1 week to film. Now, if you've been watching the show as closely as I have, you know that's like asking a cowboy to rope a bull in 10 seconds. So it's impossible knowing that his character, John Dutton, has so much screen time. Well, because of this headbutting, filming got pushed further than a longhorn on a cattle drive. And adding fuel to the fire, the Writers Guild of America and the Screen Actors Guild came out on strike. Now, with the writers back in their saddles, they're all set to script the next big adventures. But unfortunately, without the actors, it's like having a horse with no cowboy. Well, assuming the strike wraps up quick, we might get Part 2 by summer. But if this showdown keeps going, we're going to wait a longer time, maybe even until fall of 2024. Now, we've all been on the edge of our seats chewing our nails, waiting for the Dutton family drama to continue. But the wagon's got a few broken wheels right now. First, as we've discussed earlier, the writers went on strike that ended. And now, those actors have put their foot down. But hey, in the meantime, why not take a stroll down memory lane? Like rewatch the show on CBS and maybe hum along to that awesome Yellowstone soundtrack. Or if you're anything like me, put on your detective hat and delve into the Reddit forum, and trust me, you'll be surprised at the gold nuggets of fan theories you'll find there. Speaking of which, there's this dark prediction making waves on Reddit about our beloved show's grand finale. With Kevin Costner's drama off the screen, folks are worried about John Dutton's fate. And then there's the chatter about Beth and Rip. And if you're a diehard fan of this pair, brace yourselves, pal. And despite all this drama behind the scenes, one user said, "No matter what you say, Kevin Costner's a great actor. He has made his own films and starred in them. There will be no one who can replace him on Yellowstone. He has such an impact on screen. Even if Yellowstone ends or Kevin Costner leaves, they have a huge universe to play with and keep us, the viewers, on the edge of our seats. And come on, we have so many more beans to spill about the newest sequel series of Yellowstone, like the release date, teaser, trailer, and anything you are craving for. And if you click this video right here, you will know everything you need to know about it. So what are you waiting for, Cowboy? Keep those lassos ready, and let's see how this wild, wild west tale unfolds.